As more and more people are considering foreign surrogacy, what tips do you have for them before they leave the country?
Well, one of the things they have to think about is obviously if they've acquired their Canadian citizenship by virtue of birth to a Canadian parent abroad, they have to make sure that they are ready, they have the time, and they have the ability to sponsor that child back to Canada as a member of the family class. Otherwise, what may happen is their child may be stranded overseas. That's one thing to take into consideration. Another thing to take into consideration is the laws that are applicable in the country where they go through the surrogacy. In a lot of cases, it's a lot cheaper in other countries because value of the Canadian dollar is better. Regulation is less. However, what happens is a lot of people can be caught up and entangled in foreign laws that they aren't necessarily prepared for, and the Canadian government may be of relatively little assistance to them in dealing with foreign legal authorities.
If you are considering foreign surrogacy, do you need an immigration lawyer?
You may need an immigration lawyer if your child won't be a Canadian citizen by birth. If your child will be a Canadian citizen by birth, then you don't necessarily need a lawyer. What would have to happen in that case is you'd have to apply for a Canadian citizenship certificate abroad, and you can also apply for a Canadian passport abroad for any child of a Canadian.
Do you have a checklist for anyone who's leaving Canada for this purpose?
It's not so much as a checklist as a caution that they'd have to be aware of what the laws are in the jurisdiction where they're planning to go through the surrogacy, and also a caution to make sure that they have all the necessary documents to go through whatever processes they are required. That includes proof of their status in Canada, proof of their relationship to the child, any other documents, and it's one of those things that'll vary on the jurisdiction that they go to.
Because a lot of times if they're not too careful or don't know the law and they think they're leaving Canada for maybe a cheaper alternative, it could end up being that they shell out more money because of the situation they find themselves in.
In a lot of cases, options that seem a lot cheaper and a lot easier in the short term can become much more expensive and painful in the long run. In a lot of cases, it's a matter of being penny wise and pound foolish.